But don't you think for each one of us, there's something that just, it gets you fired up. It gets you passionate. And so for me, that's how I figured out what I wanted to do, is I was really passionate about technology. I'm still a geeky guy. I love technology. One thing I'll give you, the piece of life advice I have, and I have no wisdom, so I won't kid you. I'm young, I'm still stupid, but I have one piece of wisdom, and that is you have to connect what you do in life with what you're passionate about. And it seems like a simple thing to say, right? It seems cheap and obvious, but it's not. Most of the people that you'll meet in life when you grow up are not passionate about what they do. They go to work so they can go home and drink coffee or spend time with their kids or do whatever it is that really makes them happy, right? And if you think about the people you know in your life, I would bet you most of them fall into that category. They're not passionate. They don't wake up in the morning thinking, I cannot wait to be there. They don't. Most people don't have that experience. And until you felt that, it's hard to get. It's hard to really understand how great it can be. And so for my life, I love technology. I also love business. I love the role of entrepreneurship. Win, lose, or draw, I like it. Let me talk about how I got the idea for Blue Tie and a little bit about what it means to get that idea, and then how you get your own ideas. So when I started Blue Tie, I actually started real humbly, I paid for the first 6 months myself. My own money. Put just about $500,000 of my own money into it. And it's a lot of money to put in your own idea. It's one thing when you guys talk about your ideas, right? Your ideas don't have risk, right? You still live at home. You're still in high school, or middle school, and if you leave, you're still going to be in high school and middle school. So there's very little risk for you. So, but for me, that was a lot of risk. So I went out and I decided I would take a lot of risk. Put in $500,000 of my own money. That's the thing about business, is the bigger the goal you set, the scarier it'll be. So the concept behind setting big goals, and the goal I set for Blue Tie was a big goal. People get crystallized around big ideas, big goals. Everybody wants to believe in something. And so the goal for Blue Tie was we wanted to democratize technology for small businesses. And what I mean by democratizing technology is, right now, the technology that we build normally costs businesses hundreds of thousands of dollars, big investments. We took it, so we put it over the web like Hotmail or Yahoo, so it was the easiest to use as Yahoo, and it was $5 a month per user. Right? So a really complicated concept made it really simple. But it was a big goal. But our goal stated was to democratize technology, to make technology available to everybody. That's a hard goal. And so, as we look through the various goals that we have, are your goals big, audacious goals? Are they scary? Are they risky? Are they personal? Because that's a lot of what it takes. And so my recommendation as you think through your business ideas is not that you think about whether or not they'll make a lot of money. And I know that sounds contrary to what you probably hear, but who cares if they make a lot of money? The question I'd ask yourself is, are they big? Are they scary? Are they a piece of you, or are they just some idea that hangs out there on its own? Because the thing that people don't tell you about business, that they don't tell you about entrepreneurship, is it's really hard. And what they see is the glory stuff, right? I get to go on TV a lot, or I get to go into a speech like this, and I get to have people listen to me, and people say, wow, it's really incredible. What they don't see is the hard part. They don't see the 2 a.m. They don't see the struggles. And everybody who's been in business long enough will have had both the great parts and the struggles. And it's your connection to your idea and your belief in how much you think it's important that'll keep you going when you have the struggles. One of the biggest things is understanding how the market goes and validating the need. Having heard last year's ideas, there were some really cool ideas. But some of them stopped short of actually figuring out what the market wanted, of talking to people, of validating what they were doing. And that's probably one of the most important things you can do, is go out and talk to people, get people's opinion. Crossing the Chasm. It's a book by a guy named Jeffrey Moore. And the book applies not only to technology, but to every new product innovation in history. And so if you think about innovation, this applies to a lot of what you're doing. There's a theory that when you look at the market is a bell curve. And the first 1.5% are called 1.5 to 3% are called innovators. Those are people that buy things for huge, the novelty of it, huge difference. Not necessarily improvement, but just different, right? So if you ever look at my Wegmans shopping cart, I buy almost any product marked new, regardless of how little I might need it. Right? I have a whole container full of new products, and I have to throw most of them out because most of them are new for a reason. They're not going to stick around. Right? It's usually the stuff that's stuck around that usually is fairly good. So innovators buy stuff. If you look at my place, you'll know that I'm an innovator. Right? I buy stuff purely for the sake of entertainment value and the idea. Then beyond that, you get early adopters, 3 to 5% of the market. Now, the early adopters look for something for big benefit, right? Like, well, also, I also arguably apply in that early adopter category. You all know somebody that buys the first plasma when it comes out, right? Because they want it on the wall, right? Someone buys the iPod the day it's launched, right? Those are early adopters. They want the earliest thing as possible. Then there's a chasm, and this is the interesting part, is there's a gap between the early adopters and the early majority. So 70% of the market are either the early majority or the late majority, and the last 15% are what's called laggards, meaning everybody also knows someone who still doesn't own a PC yet and thinks that cell phone trend might go away, right? You all know someone that's like that too, right? Those are laggards. But so only 5% of the market is in the innovator early adopter market. The majority of the market is actually the other end of the hump. Your challenge is going to be figuring out, and that's one of the greatest challenges in life, is figuring out how to get complex technology solutions purchased by the average consumer. Most technology companies never make that leap. They always end up selling to the innovators and going out of business. The reason they call it a chasm is because most companies don't make it. So the lesson I'll leave you with is, I was told by our chairman when I first did our business, he offered me the money, he invested in it, and he had a check ready for me. $250,000, I was 17, it was a huge check. And he sat me down and he said, called me into his office. Now I thought he was calling me into my office to let me sign the thing and walk away. But no, he called me into his office and he said, okay, I just have one question for you. Is this the best use of your time? And it caught me off guard because I thought I was going there to sign the deal. And I said, well, I don't understand, what do you mean? Of course it is. And I answered too quickly. And you always know someone's full of it when they answer too quickly. I answered too quickly. So I said, yeah, this is the best use of my time. He said, no, seriously. I want to know, is this the best use of your time? Because I'm not investing in the business, I'm investing in you. And if it's not, we'll do something else. It was probably the greatest lesson I learned, because what he ended with is he said, David, you don't have to be successful every time. You just have to be successful your last time. You can fail 10 times in a row, it doesn't matter. As long as you're successful in the 11th, you'll end your life as success. Most of the greatest entrepreneurs you know did not succeed on their first time. For every Google, there's 100 others that are not successful the first time and turn out to be great entrepreneurs.